back to Cozy Corner, and we're all standing. Woohoo! Seriously, I might have to get a new Cozy Corner representative because he just doesn't seem to enjoy it. Well, it's probably a girl because it's pink. Stay there. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about Looking for Alaska by John Green. Now, this is John Green's first book, his first novel, and it is the second book that I have read of his. Of course, the first one being The Fault in Our Stars. Now, going into this book, I wasn't necessarily sure if I was going to enjoy it, and through the first, just like the first little bit or so, I was still like, is this going to be something that I'm going to enjoy? Because I wasn't sure about the characters actually. And then interestingly, it turned out that I have really loved the characters in this book, but in the start I was a bit wary of it, so let's bear that in mind as well. So this book basically, it doesn't have a huge plot, it's quite simple. It's about this boy called Miles who goes to boarding school, a boarding school which his dad went to, and he moves states to go to this boarding school, and there he meets, he doesn't really have many friends at home, and there he happens to meet some friends. He's friends with Chip, who is his roommate, and he meets this girl called Alaska, who is she's very eccentric and a bit crazy and kind of all over the place, but he really just has something for her since the first time he meets her, and kind of, really likes her. And that's kind of a lot of what the story is about. But this is kind of where it's a bit interesting. Instead of having normal chapters, the book's actually separated into before and after. You probably can't see it, but the first chapter is 136 days before. So the whole first, over half the book goes on in this kind of style of before, days before. And then when you're getting towards the end of 5 days before, 3 days before, the day before, it's very, building up to something. And then, the rest of the book is after. And then, it's days after, days after. And they're not necessarily in order. Sometimes it misses, some days it's not every single day. And I really liked that. Again, at first I was like, oh, this is interesting, and then I kind of really enjoyed the way that it was told, and it also makes it quite a quick read because the days are sometimes very close together. Sometimes they're a bit far apart, but sometimes you'll have one particular day on that one, and then the new day will start on this page. And I really liked that because I felt like I was like, oh, I'll just read one more day, and then I carried on and carried on. So yeah, the build up to after was very nice, and I very much enjoyed that. I think, for me personally, I'm obviously not going to tell you what happens after, that would be a big spoiler. When the after situation happened, I was surprised, and I was kind of a little bit annoyed, but then the book surprised me again. This book kind of kept continuing to surprise me without me really knowing it. I really enjoyed the after part of the book. I actually think I enjoyed after more than before, even though I really enjoyed before as well. So that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that to happen. There's two kind of quotes, I guess, that run throughout this book, and it is the great perhaps and the one about the labyrinth. I can't remember it word for word, so no point me trying to tell it to you, but it's these two things that Miles kind of talks on about, and Alaska, throughout the book, and I found them really, really interesting, and I really liked that. I also really liked that Miles' kind of quirky little thing is that he remembers famous people's last words, if that makes sense. The last words they said before they died, and that was really interesting. And I read this bit in the back that was written by John Green, saying that, all the last words were pretty much exactly how the real last words, apart from a few that were questionable, and they were the other, if it was A, B or C it could have been, but people weren't sure because it was a long time ago. And that was really interesting, so I really liked that. I really liked Miles' character, I really liked Chip. Alaska was probably my favourite, even though at first I was not sure about her. I was like, don't know if I like her, and then I really grew to really like her. She had a really interesting story, I liked her backstory, you get to know a lot more about her, which I really liked. And yeah, overall it was just a really enjoyable book, but it kind of surprised me because it's quite simple, but yeah, I feel like it has a lot of depth that you didn't realise. I think this is a book that I could read again in the future. I think I'm pretty sure I will read this again in the future. Maybe not for a few years, but I will read it again because I feel like reading it a second time I could also take a lot more from it. I kind of feel like it has a little life lessons hidden in, but it's not like they didn't throw them in your face. It's just they're just there for you to kind of take and do what you will with. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm sorry if I haven't explained it too well. It's just that it is a very kind of simple plot about, you know, these kids who are at boarding school and their lives and the things they do there, and then the past they have and the friends they make and connections, and then other things that I can't necessarily mention because it would ruin it for you. But I love John Green's writing style again. I would definitely be picking up more books from John Green. I gave this 4.5 stars, which again, I was surprised. After when I finished this, I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to read it again. So yeah, Looking for Alaska. I did not expect to enjoy this as much as I did. So I'll be definitely reading more of John Green's books. I've enjoyed both of the ones I've read so far, so I'm hoping I'll really enjoy all the rest that he's published so far. So yeah, if you've read The Fault in Our Stars because of all the hype, and you're looking for another John Green book, I would definitely recommend you check out this one, Looking for Alaska. Or if you haven't read The Fault in Our Stars and you don't know who John Green is, I would still recommend this book, because it's definitely a great book. So yes, that was Cozy Corner. Thank you so much for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed these Cozy Corners. I will be getting more out now I'm back in the groove of them, and I'll see you guys next time. Leave me in the comments down below if you have read Looking for Alaska or any other maybe John Green book recommendations, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!